Hey everybody, Happy New Year. I hope all is going well. I'm Jacob, and in this video, I'm going to share my dividend income for the month of December in 2023. Every single month, I like to share my dividend income from this portfolio, really in an effort to inspire others to start their own investing journey if they haven't already, and just to give you complete transparency into what it's like to actually invest. I think you see a lot of videos around the internet, people on TikTok and things like that, and they say, oh, you can day trade your way to make $1 million or just something crazy like that. But they never actually give you complete transparency into what they're doing. Now, for me personally, this is a long-term portfolio, so I'm not looking to withdraw anytime soon. I invest in a lot of boring companies, which you'll see here in a little bit. But this is really just a slow growth portfolio, one where I take the dividends, reinvest it back into the portfolio, and do my best to contribute every single month. So before we hop into the dividends, let's check out the portfolio itself. So right now it's valued at $33,800 with a total gain of just shy of $9,000, which puts us at an all-time return of about 54%. And when we look at the return for the past month, we can see that December started out really nice. It jumped up quite a bit, and then it stayed fairly flat all throughout. But overall, a money-weighted rate of return of about 3.5%. So not too bad to close out 2023. And just looking at some of the slices here, so essentially, these are just companies that I allocate into these different slices. It kind of helps me break up my portfolio by sector. So everything is in the green here, but we can see real estate had one of the largest returns of the slices. So they had about over 6%. And when we just click into there just to see what's going on, some of these REITs like Realty Income Corp and Stag perform quite well. We even had Brookfield Infrastructure Partners over 12%. So that was definitely a very nice gain for that month. And I guess one other slice I'll point to is the ETFs. So I really just have 3 ETFs. I probably should consolidate these into one or two, but we had our higher yielding ETFs, SPHD and VYM. They performed quite nicely, over 5% this past month. And overall, just very nice returns. Very happy with how the year ended. So now let's take a look into the dividends and let's see what we got for this month. All right, we're going to start with Aflac, the insurance company with the duck. I can't remember if I've actually seen a commercial in quite some time, but I know a few years back they were really popular. Anyway, they paid $11.78. Next up is pharmaceutical company Johnson & Johnson. $6.18 is what they brought in. Another pharmaceutical company here, this is Eli Lilly, and I do have to say they have performed quite well over the past few years. Really ever since the pandemic. Haven't really invested too much into them over the past couple years. Kind of just kept it steady, but they brought in $2.09 this month. Then we hop into ExxonMobil, oil and gas company. Another company that during the pandemic had a major dip. I remember it being down over 50% at one point in my portfolio, but really ever since then, it's shot up quite a bit, and currently it's one of my highest returners. But this month they paid $3.54. Then we move into 3M, a company that I've decided to hold on right now. I've paused investing into this particular company just because they seem to have a lot of lawsuits going on. Overall performance hasn't been that great, so I'm just in a wait and see mode right now. But they paid $3.96. Then we move into Microsoft, one of my favorite companies. They have such a wide moat. One of the tech companies that has been around for quite some time now, and one that I think is just going to continue to innovate and be around for a lot longer, and hopefully be able to widen that moat even more. Now, since this is a tech company, they have a lower dividend yield, but if you look at their capital gains, they've been exponential, which is really great to see. And because of the cash they have on hand, they're able to increase their dividend year over year by double digits. Following that is Home Depot. They paid $4.20. Next, we move into the REIT that performed pretty well this month. That's Realty Income Corp. Every single dividend investor seems to have this company in their portfolio. They do actually pay a dividend monthly, and this month they paid $6.09. Then we move into McDonald's, a place that I haven't been to in a long time now, but certainly it's a good company in my opinion. Just seems to be a good go-to for a lot of people now, even with all the new restaurants like the Chipotle's and the Chick-fil-A's. McDonald's still is that tried and true fast food place that people just tend to gravitate to every now and again. So this month they paid $3.36. Next up is Consolidated Edison. This is an electrical utility company based out of the East Coast. Pretty boring. Electrical utilities are fairly slow and steady growth. The price action isn't going to fluctuate very much, but this month they brought in $1.17. Then we move into Stag Industrial. This is another real estate investment trust focused on industrial properties. So very much like Realty Income Corp, these guys do pay a monthly dividend as well. And here they paid out $2.65. Then we move into Waste Management, a fairly underrated company in my opinion. I do like this in my portfolio for the diversification factor, and they paid out $2.14. Then we move into Coca-Cola, another boring company, but just a very large company worldwide that seems to have a major following. And again, certainly not one that's going to wow you with price action, but they are slow and steady growers, and the dividend they paid out was $3.74. Fastenal, this is an interesting one. They actually don't pay their standard dividend out in December. What this is actually a special dividend. So sometimes when companies have excess cash on hand, they'll pay out a special dividend, which is different from their standard dividend. I see Fastenal did this back in 2020 for 40 cents per share. This time it was 38 cents per share. Another company that does this, and they actually just announced it, is Costco. If you look at Costco's dividend history, you can see that they tend to pay out a special dividend every 2 or 3 years. So a couple years ago, it was $10 per share. And this year, they're actually paying out $15 per share. So as a shareholder, that's really nice to see. It feels really good when you get a special dividend paid out, something that you didn't really expect. So with that special dividend, we got $3.33. Then we move into an ETF. This is Vanguard's high dividend yielding ETF, VYM. And since I own a fair amount of it, they paid out $19.26. BlackRock is next. This is essentially just a very large financial company. Now, I do follow the crypto markets, and actually something that's kind of on the rise are these Bitcoin ETFs. And BlackRock is one of the companies that are filing for an ETF. So hopefully the SEC passes that soon. But they were able to generate $7.71 this month. Then we go into another one of these high yielding ETFs. This is SPHD. And this is actually a monthly paying ETF, but they paid out $8.53. VTI is next. This is probably my favorite ETF just because it's comprised of small cap, mid cap, and large cap companies. So it's a pretty good representation of the entire stock market, and one that I like to use as my baseline indicator for this portfolio. But they paid out $13.70. Chip manufacturer Broadcom is next at $6.82. And last but not least is Brookfield Infrastructure Partners. They paid out $6.20. So when we add everything up, the total income for December comes to $118.43, which is by far the biggest month of dividend income that I've ever had. A really good way to end the year. At this time last year, we were just shy of $100, generated $93. So this year to be over that $100 mark, it feels really good. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get to $1,000 annually in the dividend portfolio, but we'll definitely be there next year. And just some metrics I like to put together just for the fun of it to see what our hourly wage would be just from these dividends. So this factors in the most recent quarter and kind of expands it out into what you would be earning hourly. And so currently right now, this portfolio is generating 12 cents. every single hour. And if you were to look at this as a 40-hour work week, it would actually be generating 50 cents per hour. So just something cool that I like to throw in there. Obviously, the intention is to grow this much larger, so these numbers are probably nothing to write home about, but it's a start and overall really cool to see. So that's going to wrap up the video. Thank you all so much for taking the time to check it out. I hope that you enjoyed it. Comment down below how much dividend income you earned in December of 2023. And if you have it, also let me know how much you earned total in 2023. I'd love to hear it. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. And if you want more content from me personally, feel free to hit that subscribe button as well. Thanks everybody. Happy New Year, and I'll catch you in the next one.